We're going to take a couple more on the issue we've been talking about, the Gallup poll. We're going to go straight to Misty. She's on line 2. And good morning, Misty. You're on Cracker Barrel.
Yes, I would like to make a comment about the abortion issue.
Okay.
I am a Christian, and I am against abortion in all cases.
Okay.
I don't think there's a legitimate reason for an abortion. But I understand what Amy was saying, that it is a personal choice for people, and it's I'm not going to have to stand up for anybody else's decision.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I don't like about the abortion issues, I really don't think our government needs to legislate it in any way, because I understand why they want to legislate it, because
mm-hmm.
I agree that I feel like it's killing children. But the
mm-hmm.
thing is that now they're going to the point where I think they've started to pass a law that it would incriminate medical workers who did not want to participate in an abortion.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
because then that would be on my head.
Right. No, I see where you're coming from. And first, it was a little bit fuzzy there, Misty, but you brought it around full circle to show what you mean as far as obviously if this is going to be allowed, there has to be a legal precedent. But once you start to get into that territory, I think it becomes dangerous, no matter where you stand on the issue.
And I listened to what John said, and as a Christian, I feel like that should really wake everybody up, because
mm-hmm.
as a Christian, you shouldn't live a life where someone is able to judge you that way. That you live one way and say you're something else. I don't think you should have to wear a Christian T-shirt to let people know that you're a Christian. I think people wonder what's different about you, and then find out that you're a Christian.
Misty, I'm going to say this right now, if I can. You took John's call exactly the way you should have from your point of view. Exactly how you should have. You didn't draw a line. You didn't say, no, he's just wrong. You took it, and then you made it into something as far as examining yourself. And I think that's the key thing that we have to do, especially if you don't want to be represented that way. You can't not listen to things that come in when people make these judgments or criticisms about what you believe or why you believe it.
Right.
It then becomes your obligation to make a difference.
He's absolutely right. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he sees people for what they are, and
right.
I mean, I know people just like that. I've been that way myself at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that it should really wake people up. If you want to call yourself a Christian, it shouldn't be something that you call yourself. It should be something that people call you.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I don't like people calling our nation a Christian nation, because it's really misrepresented. Because first off, it makes people angry that they're living in a Christian nation if they're not a Christian. And
mm-hmm.
the basic thing about it is that it's just that our Constitution was based on a lot of Christian principles.
Right.
And I really wish that the government would step off of the legislating morality, because that's not how this country is going to change. The country is going to change one person at a time, because I go talk to someone and change their mind.
Right. People only obey laws to a certain extent, not to be punished.
Right.
The actual obedience comes from what you believe and what morals you subscribe to, not because someone has forced you to, but because
right.
you've chosen to make that decision, and that's the way you'll live your life. If you try to dole those out in legal situations, it's not going to work. It's going to collapse.
Right. It's just like your children. You can only punish your children to an extent to make them stay within your line of the way you want them to be, but you have to convince them of your line of thinking for them to live that way when they leave.
I certainly think so. I agree with you, Misty. Thank you so much for your call this morning.
All right.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time and your thoughts. Very good things from Misty. We're going to go to line 1 real quick. Before we take our break, we're going to go to Russ. Russ, what's on your mind?
I had a comment on the reason the poll might have tipped the other way, too.
Okay, I want to hear it. Let's go.
Well, first I guess we'd have to assume maybe John wasn't right. And if we aren't all hypocrites,
mm-hmm.
maybe the Christians or the conservatives, the pro-life people, are practicing what they preach and having babies, and the pro-abortion people are practicing what they preach and not having babies, pretty soon there's not going to be any of them left. The pro-lifers would outnumber them, and I think maybe we're getting to that point.
Well, Russ, and here's what I hope. And, you make kind of an ironic point, as you just brought up. Here's what I hope, is that Christians actually do begin to practice what they preach and are willing to make a stand at some point. That's what I hope. And, there's speculation. Do you want to know what Gallup said? This is the poll, Gallup poll. The guys thought. They thought that the reason this had kind of seen a boost, and that's 51 over 42. They think it's because Catholics got upset, and the controversy over the president invitation to speak at Notre Dame. They think that may have strengthened pro-life sentiments among Catholics, and they think that's why they saw the increase. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's probably possible. Eventually, though, I do think, just sheer numbers, the pro-life people would outnumber the pro-abortion people. It might be a burp in the poll now because of the Catholics getting upset. But if you carried this out and extrapolated it years and years and years, someday it is going to tip, and it's going to stay tipped, because pro-abortion people just aren't going to be, if they practice what they preach, they're not going to be having kids that they're going to be raising as pro-abortion kids, where the Christians or the conservatives would have kids that they raise as another wave of pro-lifers.
And that's certainly good thoughts. Well, thank you very much, Russ. I appreciate your insight.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, you have a good morning. Well, there you go. There's some thoughts from Russ on the issue. Unfortunately, we've got to take another quick break. And I hate to have to go. I brought up the dog issue. If anyone wants to talk about that, happy to do so. You're now allowed to defend yourself if a dog is trying to kill you. Just a thought. We can talk about it. Dangerous dogs? I don't know, maybe. But at least you're not going to get sued anymore. And we're back. You're listening to Cracker Barrel on today's KTTS. I am Josh Marsh. Happy to be sitting in with you. Now, Laura Beck, you and I were just discussing a pretty serious issue.
Bluegrass and barbecue.
Now, I don't know, maybe this is something folks want to comment on out there. Laura Beck, has anyone ever made you choose between bluegrass and barbecue?
No, they never have.
You've never had to make that decision, am I going to eat a piece of barbecue or am I going to listen to bluegrass?
No, because I do not know which one I would choose. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a tear would roll down my cheek if I had to choose.
Very serious. No, that's going on in Summer City right now. I love bluegrass. I love barbecue. I would happily eat both. Now we brought up the issue that the only thing they might have a problem with is if you were trying to sing bluegrass and eat barbecue.
Yeah, that might not be successful. You might want to hold off on that.
Even if you were picking and grinning, I mean, that could get messy.
Yeah, it could.
All right, we're done with that.
Yep.
Sorry, we're dorks. It happens. We hear that commercial all the time. We enjoy it. I sing along with it. But, yeah. I'm going to stop talking right now about that. And we're going to talk to someone who, a lot cooler, a lot more hip. It's Bob. And he's out at the I-44 swap meet. Also heard they have some very good produce out there. So that's something to look into in case you like yourself a good tomater. I'd go check it out. All right. Let's get back to the important people, and that's you, the callers. We're going to speak line 2. It's going to be Sandy. Good morning, Sandy. You're on Cracker Barrel.
Yes. Good morning, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What's on your mind?
Well, I have just a couple of, I hope they'll be quick, things I want to say.
We'll see. I'm timing you.
Okay, then.
Go.
2 Chronicles, chapter 7, and verse 14 says, If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land. Christians, we claim, I'm going to put myself in there, we claim to be Christians. But where were we when it was time to stand up and be counted, when they took prayer out of the school, when they took everything out of the courthouses, so on and so forth?